Resuming. Now we were talking about last time AWS IAM, so identification and access policies. We were talking about IAM users. So here we did create last time several users there. So let's just check out what else we needed to do now. So we're just going to go to the IAM again. And it was Saturday, this GB. Okay. So that was 5 March. Now it's 12. So let's start. It's 12 March 19. So we're going to quickly try to go to more labs. There are so many of them. So we're going to try to cover as many as possible. So if you go for last week, we configured MFA. We created some users there, I hope. So let's just check it out if we did create those users. And start your screenshots as well. Oh, they give me same display here now. Seriously. Okay. If you're inside the AWS, I hope you are logged in. Or if not, and you can turn off your MFA if you want. So it's not compulsory. If you have the screenshots from the previous lab, it's okay then. You don't need MFA now. So multi-factor authentication, right? So this is the AWS console. I hope you're all logged in, and let's just make sure that we are connected to our, let's check to the top right side. Everyone's connected to North Virginia, right? Mm-hmm. This is your root account with which you logged in, right? AWS console.
So we're working with Ohio last week.
Yeah. So let's connect to, let's switch it to North Virginia. So if you go down here, yes, we were connected to Ohio. So switch it to North Virginia. Make sure that you are now, from now on, throughout the course, only connected to North Virginia. As there are some services that we discovered as well that like billing, it just makes us go to North Virginia region. So it better just stick to North Virginia region. Some other features were very small features, but they were available in North Virginia but not in Ohio. So Ohio has certain lesser features or lesser advanced features, and North Virginia has most features there. So you're going to see that later as well. So make sure, first of all, we are connected to North Virginia. Now you can click that and take a screenshot where North Virginia is selected. Now go ahead, this is your first screenshot. Take a screenshot where North Virginia is selected. So I'll just put here screenshots. So I'll put, it's one already, or I'll keep changing that number here. So screenshot one, and let's go to our AWS. Now we are connected to North Virginia region. So if you are, let's just go to services on the left top here. I hope everyone is there on the services, and then let's just go to IAM. Either we can type here in the search IAM, or we can go down to the category called security, identity, and compliance and click here, this one, IAM. So let's click the IAM. It's also on the left side because we've used it already, so it's showing in the history as IAM, right? So identity and access management. So once you click that, you should be seeing this. Now don't worry that I don't have MFA. In fact, some of us have deleted that MFA as well, so it will not be green now, right? So create individual IAM users. Is it green? We created how many users? 3 or 2. Well, let's just go there inside and check that out. You know what? I wish I had. So there are 2 other classes I am teaching, and I'm using the same console for the other 2 classes. So once I'm done the lab with you, I delete everything, and we also delete everything. But do you have any users showing here?
Yes.
3 users, right? That's okay. Now I'm just gonna quickly create one user or I'll just quickly create 3 users. I'm just gonna pause that. You don't have to do that because you already have it, right? So I'm gonna resume now. So guys, I've just created the 3 users there. I didn't have that, I delete that, but you have it. I hope nobody got any cents charged till now. Not yet, right? Well, I'm sure not in future as well, but till now, no. So let's just go ahead. Now we have users on the left side showing here, and then we can see right above them as groups. Now if you click the groups here, how many groups do you see there? If you click the groups right above there, do you see any groups, or is it empty? One group we created, and I gave the task that you can just give administrative access to one. So we create the groups as well. If the group is showing, that is okay. I don't have to really create that now. So let's go down to roles here, and if you click the roles, so right now we see a lot of roles already. How many roles do you see here? I see 4. You see 2, right? 2. So but we haven't covered the role before. We have created the groups, we have created the users. That's a piece of cake. It's just easy stuff. So what is a role? It shows here as well. What are IAM roles? IAM roles are a secure way to grant permissions to entities that you trust. Examples of entities include the following: IAM user in another account, application code running on an EC2 instance that needs to perform actions, an AWS service that needs to act on resources in your account, and users from a corporate directory who use identity federation with SAML. So IAM roles issue keys that are valid for short duration keys, right? Making them a more secure way to grant access. So with roles for short duration, you can give access to an IAM user in another account, or application code running, AWS service, or users from a corporate directory. So we can assign to all these 4 scenarios to these entities there some permissions with the help of role, and the key that is generated is for short duration. So we understand that first thing. Let's just go ahead and try to create a role where this role will be giving full access to the EC2 instance, which is just a virtual machine, and we're going to be using that role later for some extra labs there. So we can give permissions to any entity or these entities within AWS with the help of creating a role, and it is for short duration. When it is used, the keys are generated for short duration. So that's the main thing to understand here. If the question comes in final term that what are roles for, and if I put some wrong statement there, by now you know that what kind of questions I can put there. So just understand that roles are for these 4 entities, and it's for security they are given for short durations. So again, let's just click the create role. I'm just gonna click the create role here. Oh, it takes us to the totally new screen, right? So this means okay, take your screenshot number 2 here, where create role is already showing here. So I'll just make it screenshot number 2, and that is where you click the create role. So the next screen shows create role like this. So another AWS account belonging to your third party web identity, we can give any. Suppose your users are coming from Facebook, your users are coming from Twitter or any other, Salesforce.com, ServiceNow.com, any of those online websites. So you can just add those users and give the role or assign the role to them as well after proper authentication. And SAML, your corporate directory. This means that if you have on-premises Active Directory available in your local branch, so you can use SAML to connect to them, and whatever number of users are coming from there, you can assign the permissions to them as well, that they can access this directory, they cannot access that service, they cannot access this file, they cannot access that virtual machine or EC2 instance. So first of all, we can just test the role by clicking this option is already clicked, AWS service, and we can go down to EC2. So allows EC2 instances to call AWS services on your behalf. So let's just click that, EC2 instance. Now we are creating a role where all the virtual machines will be having full permissions to be used by any other service that we attach it to. So AWS service, and we select the EC2, but we haven't given a full permission or just limited permission. We just selected that, hey, we're creating a role, and on which entity or service it is being created, EC2 instance. There are many other services here. We can attach any of those. We can create a role and attach any service with that, and then attach permissions with that. So if you have selected already EC2 here, then take a screenshot. That's your third screenshot. After selecting EC2, then you take a screenshot. So that's your third screenshot now. And this is the page here that you selected EC2. This is the screenshot here you take. This is the third screenshot that you just select the EC2. That's all, right? If you selected the EC2 and taken your third screenshot here, then click next permissions, this one. So this is next and this is permissions. If you click that, then the next screen shows that that EC2 service that you selected, what kind of permissions you want to grant that service. So we can go for all out permission, which is administrative access. So this is what we're selecting for that service that we selected in the previous page. So all EC2 if that EC2 instance role is attached to any of the service, that other service can make any changes on the virtual machines. The other service can make any changes to the virtual machine or EC2 instances. So if you have clicked the administrative access, that is going to be your fourth screenshot. Wow, screenshots are getting lesser and lesser, so I should be alert. Okay, so let's click that fourth screenshot here, administrative access. Administrator access. Now if you've selected that fourth screenshot here, let's click the next, which is tags. Once you click the tags here, now there is that IAM role, and in the value you can just type EC2 instances. So we don't really have to type anything here, but just to have some reference related to this. Yeah, one more thing here, if you put comma here, which we are not allowed to, EC2 instance hyphen, yeah. So let me just make it bigger now. So what am I typing? So IAM role, EC2 instances, administrator access. So any other service, if you give this IAM role to and attach it to any other service, that service will be able to make any changes to the virtual machines, being used by that service. So if that has been written here, that is just explaining that, what we did in the previous two screens. So if that is exactly written, let's not take a screenshot of this. Okay. So when I don't have to say not take a screenshot, or maybe I should actually. Yeah. Okay. So no screenshot here. Click next review. Now in the review, we have to still mention the role name. So IAM EC2 full access. So it's IAM, then in one word EC2, and then full access. IAM EC2 full access. If that's the name that you have given there, IAM EC2 full access, right? So if you've given that name, that's the only thing we needed to do here. So we take our fifth screenshots here, seriously. Okay, that's a lot of screenshots for just a small lab. If you've put in this name, if you have put in this name, then take a screenshot, and that will be your fifth screenshot. Fifth. Okay. So then, if the fifth screenshot has been taken here, let's click create role. Let's click create role now. So now we have IAM EC2 full access role. We have here normally I have AWS EC2 Smart Fleet tagging role. Okay. So anyway, if this role is created, that's good. So this just gives an example of what roles are that and for also well, it's in the slide as well anyway. So it's in the slide anyway. So here an IAM role is similar to a user in that it is an AWS identity with permission policies that determine what the identity can and cannot do in AWS. You can use roles to delegate access to users, applications, or services that don't normally have access to your AWS resources. So this is a definition also when you are asked in the quiz. It's going to be open book anyway, so you can just read from here as well. Now we have created one example of a role, and you're going to see it being used in future labs as well. So that's all for the role, but we're going to be using that again or reusing that again. So if you go to the left side here, you can see policies here, right? So let's click the policies. Once we click the policies, then you can see already created already present policies there, and that's a long list of policies that are there. Now we have already attached it to a user, we have already attached it to a role. So these are just set of permissions combined in a policy. So if let's just click the create policy now. Let's click the create policy, and so what kind of policy, which is just a set of permissions. It also says here that a policy defines the AWS permissions that you can assign to a user, group, or a role. You can create and edit a policy in the visual editor and using JSON. So JSON is also a way to show what policy you have chosen. So we're gonna just create one custom policy right now, and that custom policy we will choose what service and what kind of permissions you want to give to that service. So here, first of all, create policy here. So our policy defines that we have already talked about that. Now of course just go for your sixth screenshot here that we are about to create a policy. So take your screenshot here, which is sixth screenshot on this page, create policy, and I'll just do count here as well, 6. So roles done on policy, we're doing that. Roles, we can say created a role, and then policy, creating a policy. Okay. So and policy also, it's in the, I'm going to upload a slide. So a policy is a document that formally states one or more permissions. So it's a collection of permissions, as we discussed already. Create a policy by copying an AWS managed policy using the policy generator, or typing your own custom policy. So we're going to be configuring our own custom policy now, and check it out that what kind of permissions we can collect in a policy, and then you can attach that policy to any AWS service, right? So if you go back to our AWS console here, you can see you're on this page right now. So first of all, it's saying that okay, which service you wanna choose, and then attach some policy to that service. So let's click the service here, choose a service, right? And once you choose a service, there are, well, these are pretty much all the services in AWS, and that keeps going down and down and down. So we can search, I think there's a search, yeah, there's a search there, or we can just select that EC2. So let's just click E, or just type here EC2. Now there's EC2 auto scaling, there's EC2 messages there, and there's just EC2 here as well. So let's select EC2 now. So once EC2 is selected here, so we can just check that there are access levels here. How do you want to give access to all the virtual machine or the virtual machine services, right? So if I just make it bigger, so we have first selected EC2, and then there's a list access, there's a read access, and there's a write access. So if we just expand only the list access, go ahead and expand only the list access. If you click that, you can see that there's a huge amount of possibilities here. What do you want to list? So this is a big virtual machine service. EC2 instances means you can create as many virtual machines there, right? EC2 instance is a virtual machine. So what do you want to list inside that EC2 instance? So that's what it is showing that is possible. Now that's a lot of stuff, because EC2 can be used with all in a combination with all other services as well. That's why there's a long list here. Now we don't have to really select that, we don't need that, but we're still practicing that. How can we use this policy? How can we create a policy? So that's why in the list, go ahead and just select describe account attributes. So select describe account attributes. This is from the list we are selecting here. Now we have selected, or it shows here one selected, so we can just collapse it now. Go ahead and collapse it. So now it says list one selected. Let's go to the read as well and expand the read now, and it also has not that big amount of so already list also actually lets you read as well, but anyway, we can just describe as well, get password data, get console output. So just to show you that there is that all possibility of clicking, we don't have to really not select anything, but let's just go for describe tags here, just to show that okay, we selected one from here as well, describe tags. Now remember that we did create a tag for previous service there, but here tag is just what is this service about. Now let's collapse that. We have selected one from here, one from list, one from read, and then let's go for write. Now that's where we have to be in a production environment. In companies, you have to be extra careful about that. What kind of permission, write permission you're giving. Now this is modification, right? So if write permissions are assigned, so this means that you're letting somebody do some writing or modification in the virtual machines. If that person has the rights, then only do that. Otherwise, you don't have to really do that. So what kind of write permissions we can give here? I just keep on going down here and checking that. So we can just give create launch template. Now this is in C. If you keep going down, there's a create launch template. We're not going to test that, but we're just going for one specific policy here. So I'm just going to click create launch template. I hope you were able to find that. Once you have selected that as well, so there's a huge possibility here, and it's that flexible. When you create custom policy, you can go for any one small step and just only give that permission to the users. Suppose you're a senior administrator and you want to give permissions to junior administrators, but you don't want them to mess up your environment, right? They will mess the environment and you're responsible for that. So you will hear from the boss if they do, your subordinates do the mistake, right? So what we did was we selected just one, which is this create launch template. There's a search button there as well, I think. No, there's no. So let's just collapse that. Now we have one of each selected here, and this means that okay, that's how much we can do here. We can select a service. We can just give only this set of permissions, only list something there. For list means you cannot make any changes. Read also means you cannot make any changes, but write is one thing where you can allow others to change anything. But we just selected only one create launch template. So if any user got this permission, that user will be able to only launch template, and that's all. And that's pretty much nothing. But anyway, it can go down very granular. So once that is all selected, and it shows one selected on each line, we can just go down to request conditions as well. So specify request conditions. This is optional, and we don't really have to configure that. So if I click the specify request conditions here. So there is MFA required and source IP. So these are the only two conditions that it shows here, which just means that if the user logs in with the help of MFA, only then give these permissions. If the user has not been configured MFA, so user still cannot log in. So that's extra permission here. And there's another extra permission. If the user comes from a specific IP, then only let implement the rest of the permissions. If the user is not coming from that specific IP, suppose you give the public IP of this branch, right? So what is my IP? If you go there, you will get the public IP of George Brown College. Suppose there's another campus in Mississauga for George Brown College. So if you want users only from there to be connected to AWS, and then so if they're coming from there, then only the rest of the permissions will be implemented, and they will be given access to do whatever you allowed them to do. So these are just the conditions here, and we don't really have to configure that, but we understand that these are just extra security measures that you can take. So click the close button here, and list, read, write. So whatever is selected in the list and read and write, it is showing now here. So if that is selected, and we can review policy here as well. So let's click the review policy. Okay, so let's give the name. It's just GB dash your first name dash custom dash policy. So again, I'll just make it bigger. So it's GB your first name custom dash policy. Go ahead and give this name. So it should have your name. I hope the previous screenshots do show your name, which is supposed to be on the top right, right? So every screenshot must have your name, otherwise I'll have to send it back to you. Okay, and if we go down here, oh, create policy. Okay, take a screenshot of this. I hope nobody created a policy yet. So take a screenshot of this, and that was your 7th screenshot. Okay, so if that is done, let's click the create policy now. So that this is your second, okay, not second, sorry, 7th screenshot here. If you've taken your 7th screenshot, let's create policy. So now your first name, GB your first name policy has been created here. Well, the previous screenshot is enough to show, so you don't have to take a screenshot here. Now we get the idea that, okay, it's a collection of permissions, right? So we did that and we're good. So then there are identity providers here. Let's go for the next one, which is identity providers here. And that's just, if you want to connect AWS to any other identity provider. Suppose any other website has a huge amount of usernames and credentials. So that would be your Facebook, Twitter, or any other website that has a lot of users and they have their own authentication method. Then you can connect the identity providers to them. That's not the exam objective right now, so we're not gonna go for that. It's just that I'm just showing you that, or at least we are discussing it, that what you do is you connect to other identity providers, which could be Facebook, Twitter, or any other website having lots of users there and having their own authentication procedures. So if we go down to account settings here, so this is, of course, you would be, if you're the senior administrator there, or you're the only AWS administrator there in the organization, this is one of the first areas that you will be visiting. You'll be putting the password complexity there. Right now it says minimum password length is 6. So if you give a password now which is less than 6, you won't be able to give that. That's the rule here. Also, it's a bit it's not really very complicated combination here. or complexity is not there. So require at least one uppercase letter, require at least one lowercase letter, require at least one number, and at least non-alphanumeric character. So if we put all that, although it says allow users to change their own password, yes, that's okay. But we can make it very complex and complicated password, right? If we start clicking all those options: enable password expiration, prevent password reuse, and password expiration requires administrator reset. So this is, of course, very straightforward. You want to make the password more difficult, you can just click. Obviously you're going to follow the company compliance policy, and in the meetings you can just put these options that are their inputs. So I'm just going to create a more complex password policy here. You can do that, but we don't really have to experiment it on our own selves. So it's let's keep it as is, and we visited here just yeah, since we didn't do anything, and it's pretty straightforward. If there are any questions, let me know. Otherwise, that's pretty straightforward. You want to make your password complex for your other users, this is the place to do that, right? Now, do you see once you're here in IAM, why it is not showing North Virginia? Is it showing global for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Because IAM is for all the regions, right? That's just one liner for that. IAM, identity and access management, is for all regions, so that's why it's always global. Okay, guys. So if we go down here, nothing to change here. Whatever we change, actually, is going to be implemented on us. So better just keep it simple, you know. So credential, but you know, don't share your password with anyone. Why? It is a trial account, but your credit card is attached, right? So you better give, I'm sure you would have given very complex password here yourself, right? So if you're keeping it, oh, this is just a trial account, so what? Anyone can log in. No, anyone logs in, you might get billed on your credit card. So be very careful about your own account, right? So credential report, once we go there, so click the button to download and report that lists all your accounts, users, and status and the status of their various credentials. After a report is created, it is stored for up to 4 hours. So the thing is that if we have changed the password, if we have put anything related to credentials, so we can just check it here. It's also pretty simple and straightforward right now. Nothing difficult here. So if we go down to encryption keys, this is the area which is key management service, and it saves your encryption and decryption keys. So this is a very important area. So AWS Key Management Service is a managed service that makes it easy for you to create and control the encryption keys used to encrypt your data. AWS Key Management Service is integrated with other AWS services including EBS, S3, Amazon, Redshift, and others to make it simple to encrypt your data with encryption keys that you manage. So it is also integrated with CloudTrail and to provide you with logs of all key usage to help meet your regulatory and compliance. So it manages your keys that once you encrypt your EC2 instance, those keys have to be saved somewhere. So they are saved in Key Management Service, right? Otherwise, you have to download them and save it in your USB stick, right? So better AWS safeguard your keys as well. But again, that's another service that you have to purchase, your company has to purchase and use it, right? So it says create and manage keys here, use keys to encrypt your data, audit key usage. So that's all the functionality that it does. Now we're going to come back to this when we're talking about security. Right now we know that it is an IAM where we can just configure key management service that will help us create and manage keys, use keys to encrypt your data, and audit key usage here. So one screenshot, which would be your 8th screenshot, I guess. Yeah, 8th screenshot. Take a screenshot of key management service page without making any changes there. Take a screenshot of this page. Take a screenshot of this page. That will be your 8th screenshot. Okay, so now for IAM, that's not a very big topic, but the bigger topic is the storage itself. Storage is a really big topic. Now let's get down to storage. So once we have covered some portions of this IAM, and then we need to go to services. Let's go to the top left here. Let's go to services, and then we go down to S3 storage. Now the storage is really covered in the exam. A lot of questions come. Now I'm talking about certifications in our exam. Obviously the majority of the labs are coming from storage, and AWS do earn a lot from this area. So that's why we're going to go down to S3 now. So we have already clicked S3. I hope everyone has clicked the S3. So S3 buckets. What are S3 buckets here, and what is the purpose of that? So about S3, it is a simple storage service first of all, and it is Amazon S3 provides developers and IT teams with secure, durable, and highly scalable cloud storage. So you can upload and all their stuff, and you can just use Dropbox for that as well, Google Drive for that as well. But this is for commercial use, for companies, corporates. They use S3 storage there, or which is a cloud storage. Amazon S3 is easy to use object storage with a simple web service interface that you can use to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere on the web. So Amazon S3, you can just go for object-based storage. So there are two types of major, we can categorize them in two ways, the storage. There is storage. There is block-based storage. So there's object-based storage, and then there is block-based storage. Now, object-based storage is where we can upload common files and folders. So it is created for exactly that purpose. And this is our normal storage that we use daily whenever we are uploading files to any cloud storage like Dropbox, Google Drive. Now this is a block-based storage. It is used for virtual machines, which is EC2 instances, and this type of storage supports lots of IOPS, right? So IOPS is input output per second, right? So this type of storage will be used to create virtual machines and put the virtual disks on. Normally EC2 instances place their EBS, which is elastic block storage, and in English that means virtual disks. So they just give weird names to very simple things. This is just a virtual disk. So EC2 instances or virtual machines create their and place their elastic block storage on block-based storage. So it basically, on the hardware side, they create their virtual disk on top of block-based storage. So you should understand that whenever we're talking about object-based storage, it is just used for common files and folders. A file server would have just object-based storage. But if you want to use storage for virtual machines that are running, that are shutting down, so you use block-based storage, right? And that would be definitely coming in final exam as well, with some twists. Now you know what I mean by twist. So I hope. Hey, anyone got 20 out of 20 here for midterm? Oh, the other section, 2 of them got 20 out of 20. Hey, that's strange. But anyway, it was open book for both sections. Anyway, but you also did good. and I'm sure you're going to be doing better on the rest. Final exam. Okay, so here S3 is object based. It allows us to upload files. Files can be from 0 bytes to 5 terabytes. So now we're about to create a bucket there. Bucket, right? So that's a folder that we call, it's a container, a folder. So it is called bucket. There is unlimited storage after. So once you reach 5 terabytes, then you can purchase the rest of the storage. Excuse me. Files are stored in buckets, folders. So we will call it buckets, or AWS calls it buckets, which are just folders where you store files. And S3 is a universal namespace, which means that names must be unique globally. This name can be accessed over the internet. Now we're about to create a container that can be accessed by anyone on the internet. So we need to give permissions, restrictions on that container, and it has to be globally unique. Suppose you go for John's bucket. So that could be taken, this name could be taken by anyone across the planet. So this name has to be unique across the planet right now, right? If anyone, millions of users who are using that, if they have come up with that name already, you have to come up with a new name. So we're just gonna make it or try to make it unique now. So but first we're understanding that it's just a folder that where we can upload files, but it's not just a folder. It has huge amount of functionalities, and there are lots of labs coming your way. So we're gonna just do that now. Guys, are you allowed to install any software on these machines? Suppose I ask you to install WinZip, are you able to do that yourself? Like, are there restrictions there? Have you ever installed any software before in any other course in these machines? No? No. Okay, we'll test that, because we need to install Cloudberry. That's a software. But you all have access to tech support, right? Tech username. So I think you will be able to download that and install. Download is easy, but installing is we'll check that. So when we upload a file to S3, we will receive a HTTP code 200, which means the upload was successful. So let's go ahead and create S3 bucket there. So S3 usage, it's 1 or 2% usage. It's a very old analysis here, 2013, 2014. Seriously, I should just delete that. Resuming. So data consistency, we're going to talk about that. And okay, let's just talk about it now. So data consistency just means that read after write consistency for puts, create of new objects. It means when you create an object, then you will be able to access it right away. So that's what they talk in AWS way of saying that when you upload an object, obviously you're going to be having access right away. So they don't just make you wait. Once you upload it, it's fully uploaded, you will get access. Second thing, they're saying that eventual consistency for override puts and deletes. If you delete or update an object, then it will take some time to show the new status. It takes time, and you will either get new data or old data, but not inconsistent data. So that's what it's saying, that whenever you're processing some data there, it's going to just show you either the old data or the new data, but not the inconsistent. It's not going to show you the processing going on there, but it's just going to show you either old or inconsistent data. So if we go ahead a little, S3 is object based. Objects consists of the following. There's a key, there's a value. That's what we use in the tag as well. Version ID, important for versioning. We're going to talk about versioning and do a lab there as well. Now there's metadata, data about the data you are storing, sub-resources, access control lists, and torrent. It also supports torrents, but it's not for illegal objects there, but it does support that protocol. So built for 99.99% availability, service level agreement, SLA, and 11 nines durability. So there is availability, and that has 99.99%, but the durability is 11 nines, and durability just means that the data will not be deleted or corrupted or unrecoverable. So they guarantee that if you put your data there, there's a 99.119 durability guarantee that your data will always be accessible in the accessible form. and tiered storage available. Also lifecycle management, archival, moving to other storages with the passage of time. So we're going to do that lab as well. So versioning, now that's what we're going to do as well. But right now we're just going to try to check how we can create our storage. So let's go towards our storage. If everyone's in the S3 bucket here, then take your ninth screenshot here where you are already, you have already clicked the S3 bucket, and it shows an empty area where we haven't created any bucket yet, right? So that will be, hey, did we take a screenshot of this already? This one. Okay. So you're not sure? This page we have the screenshot already, right? Oh, okay. Thank you. So ninth screenshot here. So this, take a screenshot of this page. Once you've taken a screenshot of this page, let's click the create bucket here. Create bucket. Now this is this has to be globally unique. Over the internet, nobody should already have created the name that we're about to create there. So let's click the create bucket. Once you click the create bucket here, make sure that you're on North Virginia here. And second thing, it has some rules here. The bucket name must be unique across all existing bucket names in Amazon S3. Buckets used as an origin point for Amazon CloudFront distribution have specific restrictions. So anyway, let's just put that name. First of all, it has to be lowercase. If you put uppercase, it's not gonna support that. Second thing, so let's go for GB, and I think we can put dash. Bucket name must not end with dash or period. It must not end. So GB dash your first name dash, and we have I think today is what, 12 March, right? So 12 March, all lowercase guys, 19. So GB dash your first name 12 March 19. If you don't get any error, so that's good. Nobody else has already taken that. Well, it's date specific, so definitely not today anyone would have created that. So if you click anywhere else, I'm just clicking here and I don't get any errors. This means the name is okay. Now second thing is region. Yes, we're creating it in North Virginia, which is okay. And third thing is that copy settings from an existing bucket. This is our first bucket, so it does not apply to us. So that's one thing here. And let's go ahead and click next. Once we click next here, so what we see here is versioning. Keep all versions of an object in the same bucket, or log requests for access to your bucket. And tags, you can use tags to track project costs there as well. So versioning is a separate lab that we're going to be doing anyway. So right now we don't have to really care about versioning. We're not gonna enable that. Okay. Second thing is, if we keep going down here, there's object level logging and there's default encryption. We don't want to encrypt now. We don't need security here for now. And object level logging is just that if you upload one document there and then you delete that document, they will be logging. If you want to enable logging, it will know that who logged in at what time, double clicked or opened the document inside and deleted. Suppose the document was deleted, so at what time it was deleted as well. So we haven't selected anything in versioning. We haven't clicked server access logging here, no tags here, and then we went for object level logging, default or encryption, nothing to do here right now. And it goes down to management, which is CloudWatch request metrics. So CloudTrail and CloudWatch are both. CloudTrail normally creates lots of log files. Log files retain or save whatever you've been doing with the timestamp. You upload a document, log file will notice that with the timestamp. You deleted a document, it will notice, it will just put it with the timestamp. At this time, this user deleted that document. So that's what CloudTrail does, right? And then CloudWatch here is also going to monitor the access normally of this. So both are available. If you check do the checkbox, there will be price attached to that, so that's why we're not gonna check it. Also, if we click the advanced settings here, there's object lock. That's a very good feature here. Permanently allow objects in this bucket to be locked. Object lock requires bucket versioning to be enabled. So the main thing is you won't be able to delete the objects inside the bucket. If you put the lock on that, nobody will be able to delete that. So that's the purpose of object lock. So if you see up there, there's the tags written there. Let's just put that department and value is sales. So we have put this information there, department and value is sales, and I did not check mark anything. Let's not check mark anything. So just put that department and sales. But do not take screenshot. Okay. So well, that's nothing here. So do not take. Okay, guys. We discussed at least what are all the options, why are they there, and click next. So nothing on this screen, no screenshots on this screen. Click next. So now we see here. Now this is a very important page here that sets the permission. You can grant access to specific users after you create the bucket. So the good thing about creating a bucket globally is that right away it's going to be locked. The bucket is not accessible by anyone other than you right now, right? So this is very important to understand. Just like you create a firewall, you enable a firewall, it locks everything right away. Then whatever you want to unlock, it just unlocks that, right? So public access settings for this bucket. Obviously, this is a very sensitive issue here, that why would you want to open it for public? But you have to open it for public. Suppose there's a need for that. Your customers are in Singapore, your customers are in Mumbai, or your customers are in Europe. So in that case, of course, you have to enable public access, but then use Amazon S3 block public access settings to enforce that buckets don't allow public access to data. So there's a mini class going on. Okay, so you can also configure the Amazon S3 block public access settings at the account level. Now we can mess with those settings now, or we can do them later as well. So manage public access control lists. Access control list just control, it's a list where you control access. Simply just play with the word and it's the same thing, right? So block new public ACLs and uploading public objects. So if anyone wants to block access, block doing that. Don't allow anyone to block anyone's access. That's what it's saying here right now. And uploading public objects. So anyone from this account other than the owner, we are the owners, right? So anyone else cannot upload any objects. Second thing is remove public access granted through public ACLs. So again, remove public access granted through public ACLs. If there is any of that setting is enabled, it will already remove that. Somebody else gave access to all the public to access this bucket. If this option is checked, then that access will be gone again. Manage public bucket policies for this bucket. Now block new public bucket policies. Suppose somebody wants to create a policy for public access. Don't let the policy be created at all. So this is a very strict permission here that don't even let anyone create a policy for access. And block public and cross account access if the bucket has public policies. So again, do not let anyone from the public and from any other account access this bucket as well. So that's a huge amount of restriction here that we see. And then the final thing says there, do not grant Amazon S3 log delivery group right access to this bucket. So do not even let anyone create log files in this bucket as well. So that's a lot of permissions that you need to play with in order to give anyone access to this bucket. Now if we have done this, now we're not changing anything on this page as well, but you're gonna see the result of not making any changes here, that you will be not able to do a lot of stuff here. So anyway, don't change on this page and click next. Now this is the review page, and you can see on the top there's a name written here, right? And on the bottom is all what we have gone through. We haven't changed anything, so just drag on the top, drag your scroll bar on the top, and just take your 10th screenshot of this top area here. Take a screenshot of this area where your scroll bar is on the top. You know, your bucket name must be showing, this one must be showing there in your screenshot. Make sure your bucket name is showing in your screenshot, this one. If the bucket name is showing in the screenshot that you have taken, and that's I didn't change that, 10. Okay, so 10th screenshot here. So let's go ahead and create bucket. So click create bucket, and it just created right away, so that's good. Now let's go inside the bucket here and click that GB your first name 12 March. Let's click that bucket, and inside the bucket is empty, of course. What you can do is upload an object, any file, or create a folder, and then upload any file to that folder. Set object properties, set object permissions. So you can see up there as well, there are properties here, permissions here, and management as well. So we can do a lot of stuff here. Let me just, was I recording that? Yep. Now here we have properties, permissions, and management, and that's a lot of access, things that we will have here. But let's just go down to upload here. Let's click the upload button. Once you click the upload button, again select files, set permissions, set properties, and review. So these are the 4 options there. Let's first click the add files, this one. Let's click the add files, this one. And now if you have clicked the add files, then on the left side you should be seeing documents on the left side. I hope everyone is able to see the documents on the left side. If you see that, go ahead and click documents, this one. Everyone sees the documents, right? Okay, once you click the documents, now there are many documents that are available there. Let's create a new folder inside the documents. Let's click the new folder tab inside the documents. So we have all done that. That's still very simple stuff. Please do pay attention. So it's too simple. Oh, in my case, okay, in that case I'm just creating mine. So AWS files. So you can just name it AWS files here, although if your documents folder is already empty anyway, so well, you then didn't have to create. But anyway, let's just create the document. Let's be consistent. And inside AWS files, now we are inside the documents folder, AWS files. We can right click here on the white area here, or the empty area here. Let's right click and create a text file. See this? Let's right click and create a text file. So go down there and click the text document and just name it by your name, first name file, dash file. So text document, if you've got that, let's just name it your first name dash file, your first name dash file. And if you're done, we need to write something inside, right? So your first name dash file, and right click here, and do you see the open like this? We need to write something. So right click here and click open. Now once you click open, we can just write something. So testing AWS S3 bucket access, and dash your first name. So write exactly this, because then I'll be giving you a task to open this file within the browser. Okay guys, so testing AWS S3 bucket access, dash your first name here, and take your 12th, 11th or 12th. So take your 11th screenshot here, where that you have written something in a file that shows clearly your first name dash file, right? So just take a screenshot of this page here where it shows your first name dash file. Anyway, so once you've taken this 11th screenshot here, then click the close button here, notepad, and click save. So click the save and close and save, doesn't matter. So now we have, so we can just upload the file now, right? So we have written something inside, we closed it, now it is selected already, so we can just click and open it or double click it and it's gonna be uploaded, right? So double click and it should look like this now. So the file is on this page, right? So let's click, we can't do anything here, so let's click the next button. If the file is on this page, click the next button. Now here it shows a lot of types of accesses here. First is that it's giving you your email name here. Second thing, it is access for AWS account. Do you want to give access to any other user to this file? And then the third thing is manage public permissions. Do not grant public read access to this object, recommended. But what are the other options here? Grant public read access to this object. So, okay, we understand, and this is a hint for you as well, that there is an option called grant public read access to this object, right? There's an option. So you saw that as well, because the task 1 is coming now. So right now, keep it on do not grant public read access, right? And click next. So then it just shows you storage class here. There's standard, there's intelligent tiering, long-lived data with changing or unknown access patterns, standard IA, one zone IA, Glacier, reduced redundancy. We're going to talk about that storage class here. Choose a storage class based on your use case and access requirements. This is an upcoming topic. That what is storage class and when do we use that? Why do we use that? Encryption, we don't want to encrypt the file as well. If you keep going down, header, metadata, you want to just put some name there, like suppose its department is sales or something else, tag as well. Right now we don't have to do anything, no encryption, no storage class selection. It is just automatically selected to standard frequently accessed data, which is okay, and click. So no changes on this page, no screenshot, click next. Okay, so nothing here, it's all just a review, and go ahead and click upload. So once you click upload here, right, now suppose your boss comes to you and sees that, okay, you have loaded a file, so oh, what's in the file? I want to read that file, right? So you just, it's uploaded and you want to read the content of this file. Are you able to do that? So if I click the file on top of that, if I click that, so I just go inside the file, more options here. So go ahead and click that file, right? You will go inside that and you will see make public, copy path, download as, download or open. But if you keep going down here, do you see this object URL, right? We see that. So this is where we can check if we can read the file because it has a URL till that file extension. So go ahead and click that. It will open a new tab in the browser, and what do you see? Exactly this, right? Access denied. So it's actually not a new, well, I should have just right clicked and open a new tab. I should have selected that, but I selected just that exact link. So I'm just gonna click back button here. I want to go back, right? So if I go back, so this area is still here, right? So now there's properties, there's permissions, there's select from here as well. So here and your
If you click open, it shows it. If you click open at the top.
Oh man, you're already working on it. That's good. So where this one, right?
Yeah.
This one. So let's click that. So it is showing for us, right? Suppose you want to, I'm just going to go back. This is just showing on the next tab. So go back to the previous tab, right? Now imagine, just click that link, right? Just copy that link. I've just copied that link, right click and copy here. So once I copy that link and go to another tab, new tab here, I copy that link, I paste that link and enter. So access denied is still there, right? So for us, yes, you're right that it opens. But when you put the URL, it is not opening. So we want it to open for public, for anyone. So suppose you send that URL to anyone else. He or she will say, hey, I don't have access here. So your task 1 is, so it's not for us, it's for someone else. That's the scenario here. So task 1, okay, so take a screenshot here first of all, that you can show the URL and the access denied page is showing here. Take a screenshot of the URL showing, obviously it's the same page, right? So take a screenshot number 12, right? So now task is that with the same URL, it should be readable. Simple, right? So I'm just gonna go, well, I'm just gonna type it, make this URL based access to the content of this, of the text file, .txt file, readable. Hint, permissions. Okay, so, and one screenshot needed, where it shows the content readable. So when you always click the open, that's another URL. When you click this URL, so you know there's another hint I'll just give there, and hint number 2 is, oh, you know what, it's not being shown in the video. So hint number 2 is that make public. So that's another hint, somewhere there written make public. So still access denied? Okay, you got 2 to 5 minutes. Figure that out. Figure it out. Yep. Oh, it's not showing. Ugh. Okay, sorry. So duplicate. Yep. So one hint permission, second hint make public, but 2 to 5 minutes, figure it out how to give permission to this file. So with that particular URL which is supposed to be given to others. Oh, somebody already did? No. If you Google it, you'll just get it right away. Suppose you're in the production environment and you have to figure that out. What do we do? You got it?
Well, no, so
Oh,
what I did was,
you can share.
okay, yeah, sure. So I went back to,
Yep.
this is the right way. So I went back to the previous page, the made it public, and then access it through the
URL.
URL.
And when you click in the permissions make public,
Yeah. Like it will disable that make public option, right?
no, are you asking or are you?
I don't know. I'm saying 'cause, like
Okay.
when it was enabled,
Yeah.
and I tried to make it public, it said access denied.
Uh-huh.
And then once I removed those options, it would allow me to make it public.
So how many options did you remove there?
SSG removed all of
Oh.
the.
Actually, yes. When you remove all only, then it will work. Actually, if you remove 3 of them, then it will work basically.
Okay.
So where did you go to remove them on?
So like the prior page, so like I went back to so one up like to the GB and then my first name 12March2019.
Uh-huh.
Then I went to permissions
Uh-huh.
and then the public access settings. I just
Oh, okay. Permissions and public access settings. Guys, everyone's hearing that? Permissions and public access settings. Yeah.
So I found I found something weird where you click open, it opens it with the URL, and you can view it fine. You click the URL, and it opens the exact same link. It says access denied.
Exact same link? No, it's the URL, right? That I showed.
Yeah, but if you click open, it opens the URL.
Yeah. But access denied should not be coming anyway. Right? So if you give it to someone else, it will only give access denied. So if we discover some other way, it is for us. We are the owner, right? For others, it will always be access denied. So we need to make sure when we normally click that, it should be okay. And he already shared with everyone. So please, everyone was able to do that? Okay, cool. So take us one screenshot of that and let's start it in 2 minutes. Let's see. Yeah.
When I click the make public, it says
I thought you were hearing what he was saying, but anyone else was able to do that? I'll still give you 2 minutes to figure it out. So guys, everyone done or anyone remaining? Not done? So that point is being noted. So he mentioned 2 times. Okay. So let's go to those who are done. It's okay. For others. So if we go back to, you can see here GB, your first name, right? So here there's permissions, and once you go to permissions, then there are these public access settings for this bucket. We all see that? Public access settings for this bucket. And if we click this edit here, this one, so now we can mess with the main settings here. Let's pretty much remove everything. So uncheck, uncheck, uncheck. Normally block, public, and cross account. So if you don't uncheck that, it really doesn't matter. If you uncheck that, it's okay. If you don't uncheck that, it's okay. Doesn't matter, because it's not a cross account access we're targeting. So if you've done that, then click save. right? Have you all done that? Okay, so go ahead and click save. It says, oh, you really want to do that? So just type confirm, like Z's, confirm, right? And did we click confirm already? Okay, go ahead and confirm. So after that, yep. Okay. Okay. So an unexpected error occurred. So everyone sees that? You see that? You don't? Oh, you also. Everyone sees that. Unexpected. So click the save button again. So it says here access status appears as only authorized users of this account for a bucket with a public bucket policy. By choosing this option, users outside this account cannot access that bucket until the public bucket policy is removed. Okay, so I'll just go for the fourth one as well. Okay. Yeah, it's just that we wanted to know what to do with that. So if I just keep it like that and click save again, just save again. Oh, seriously, confirm. If it doesn't work, then just uncheck the fourth one as well. So I'm just gonna try it one more time, confirm, and as you said, so that's good. So once that is done, do you know what to do next for that file? Yes. Now give permission to the file or make public, right? So make sure you get a screenshot where the URL shows here. A URL shows here, and actually the contents of the file are showing as well. And take that screenshot. If that is done, let's go ahead. Yay! Done? Let's go ahead. Okay. So if it is done, you're supposed to take a screenshot if instead of access denied, you see that content written and that. So are we all done with the? I haven't shown you the next steps now. You have to figure that out. For this, no. So I'll go back here just for the video as well. Click file, text, and then make public, right? This one. So once you make public, then oops, now it's showing that. So if you see this with a URL and like this, just take a screenshot, right? If that is done, let's go ahead, guys. This was the first thing. We were trying to give access to public for that, but in order to do that, we unchecked those options which were blocking us from giving access to anyone. So now we allowed ourselves to give permission or remove permission. So first we allowed ourselves to give permission or remove permission, then we did anything else, right? So it's not opening the whole bucket, it's just allowing us to actually permit a file to be accessible for others. Okay, so that's one thing here. Let's just go back to the main bucket here. Let's just click that GB, your first name, 12March2019 again. Once you go there, now there is versioning feature available there as well, which is really interesting. So I'm just gonna go for versioning here as well. And why do we use versioning? So different versions of the files can be kept. Maybe you've used that already. It the S3 bucket also supports encryption. It also supports secure access. We talked about access and public access. We already removed that. So we need to go for versioning, which is just a very simple lab. Then we're going to come back to those other labs that I just skipped because the slides are not in that order, the way which we are doing that. So S3 versioning here. So we can keep multiple versions, older, newer, of same file. Once versioning is turned on, then it cannot be removed, but it can be disabled. So we're going to enable versioning now on the bucket here. If we delete a file, then it can be restored. But if we delete any version of a file, then that deleted version can never be restored within AWS, right? So we're going to know now what is versioning here. And on our computer, let's create, so this is a lab now. Let's just start the versioning lab. But do we understand what is versioning? So versioning is that suppose you make changes in the document first, and then you upload that document. Right now we just uploaded a document, right? So next day when you come, you on the same document you make some more changes and you upload that document, same document again. Now that same document should override the document that was uploaded the previous day, right? But if you enable versioning, then it will not override that previous document. It will set aside the previous version separately and the new version of the document where you just put one more extra sentence separately. So versioning is that if you upload the same document with modifications, it's not gonna override the previous document. The previous document will be saved separately. This new version of the same document will be saved separately. If you understand that, let's go ahead and do this lab. So what we need to do here is, if you're back to this page, now first of all, we already know that your first name file is already uploaded here. We need to make changes to this file. So we're going to do the same way. Let's click the upload button again here. Let's click the upload button here. Once we click the upload, we're going to be on that same folder again. Let's click the add files. Let's click the add files. Once we click the add files here, now you see that exact same file is there. Let's open the file and add one more sentence here. Let's open the file like this and add one more sentence. So I hope everyone has opened the file here, and let's just type here testing versioning in AWS S3 bucket dash your first name. So testing versioning in AWS S3 bucket dash your first name. Let's just type this exactly and take your 12th screenshot. Take a screenshot here. Take a screenshot. Thirteenth screenshot. Okay. So screenshot of what? This one. So you have written the second statement. Now you have taken a screenshot. This is a sentence that you need to type here and take a screenshot, right? Yep. Oh yes, exactly. I gave one assignment as well, task as well. So definitely it's a 14th screenshot. So what we see here, we've already opened that document. You have just put a new sentence there. If you have put exactly this sentence and taken a screenshot, 14th screenshot, let's just save and close, or close and save. I'll just close and then click the save button here. Once you save, now obviously we're gonna upload it again. Guys, do not go ahead. Did anyone upload it already? Oh, there's a yes here. Okay, so you know why we are not supposed to go ahead right now? We want versioning to be seen there, right? So we never enabled the versioning before doing that. So right now if we upload this, it's gonna overwrite the previous document. We will not have the previous version of that. So we have made the change. Everyone has made the change. Let's cancel this out because that file we will upload anyway. Let's cancel from here. And let's cancel from here as well. Why? Because this bucket does not yet support versioning. So I'm just gonna cancel from here as well. Okay, so here we know that the file has been changed, so it's good. We were gonna do that later anyway. So we're gonna do that after enabling the versioning. Otherwise it's gonna just overwrite this file and later we have to just add third sentence as well. But right now we don't have to do that. Let's go up one level. Don't go up one level. Do you see properties here? If you click properties here, then versioning is the first one here, this one. So click the properties and click the versioning now. Once you click the versioning, go ahead and enable versioning like this. So if you have click enable versioning, then click the save button. Now it is enabled. And take a screenshot. We must enable that. This is a very important point. So that will be your 15th screenshot now. So enable versioning, you need to take a screenshot when you have enabled and it is showing the enabled option here. So if you see that, you're good. And let's take a screenshot here So, what's the deal today? We're not taking a break and going early, or we're taking a break and then going late? No break, yes break. 10-minute break. You need? Yeah. You can take a break as well if you want. So, oh, it's already the, Tim Hortons is closed down there. So, you'll need to go outside. So, if any one student says we need a break, we take a break then. If any one student says. So, who needs a break now? And okay, that's it. Veto power used. So, go ahead and take a break. So, we start at 7:48. 10-minute break. You need more? Okay, 15-minute break is okay. 1-5. Okay, 1-5. So we start at 7:52. We start at 7:52. Alright guys, so we're back from the break and let's get going. So what we were doing was we were trying to talk about versioning here. Now versioning was enabled and that was our 15th screenshot here. So once we enable versioning, now we can upload the second version of the file there, and we will check that were the two versions preserved or not. So I'm just gonna click overview here, and then once you click overview, now you can see here, first of all, there's versions written here when you enable versioning. So this one comes here. You can click the hide, you can click the show here. If you click the show, so right now only obviously one version is showing here because we never uploaded that same file again, which has some modification now. So we can click the hide as well, and that's gonna just show you the file structure here. So obviously let's just go ahead and upload that file now. So click the upload button here and then click the add files. So upload button on the left side, and then click the add files, and there's that same file, but we already made this entered the second sentence there. We don't have to make any changes now. So just double click that file and it is showing like this as about to be uploaded. And instead of going next, we can just simply click directly upload here. You don't have to go to permissions, properties, review. So once you click the upload directly here, so it is uploaded, right? But it's still not showing, it's just showing the same file. So we can click the show button here, and now you see that there are two versions of the same file being maintained here. So take your 16th screenshot here where you can see the two files uploaded, latest version and the version that we created half an hour ago. So take a screenshot of this page after clicking the show button, and you're seeing the two screenshot or the two files there. So I'll go for 16. So this versioning is really interesting, and you can just keep suppose there are hundreds of users there and they are uploading every day modified files, so it will just keep all the versions of those employees there. So this is how versioning is done. It is really not much there, so we can just check. Now some of the other features will depend on that the versioning is enabled, but this is pretty much it. This is how versioning works, right? This is basics of that. So you can keep on uploading the same file to tomorrow as well, and it's gonna keep the third version, fourth version, fifth version, and so on. So let's go for another feature here, and that is cross-region replication. That's a very important feature, and what happens here is that you have multiple regions on your if you go up there on your right side, S3 does not require region selection. So right now we see that the S3 bucket also shows global here, right? So is it showing North Virginia 21 when you're inside the S3 bucket? No one, right? So it is showing just the S3 does not require region selection or global. But suppose you are in North Virginia and your clients are in Singapore, so that Singapore region is also there. Now well, I can just create a screenshot or just create a diagram here. So we create one bucket here in the cloud, and we create another bucket here in Singapore. So what is the purpose of that? So we're talking about cross-region replication. So it will be that we can maintain a copy, and we can also say that maintain a passive copy of our bucket and in another region, right? In another region. So that is okay if you want to have a backup saved in another region, and that's why you want to create the cross-region replication. Second reason would be we can also make the passive bucket in the partner region as read-only. Req1. Did I put G? Did I not put G? Okay. So in the partner region as read bucket. So the company clients. So the company clients in that partner region can also access the other passive other bucket. So what we are saying here is, suppose we will just not suppose, we are actually in North Virginia here, right? And Virginia, the bucket was created there. Virginia. Okay, so if we create another bucket in Singapore now, region, so what will happen is that we can separately create a new bucket there in Singapore region, and then we can go for a feature called cross-region replication, and we will define that, okay, whatever we copy in North Virginia must get copied automatically in the Singapore region as well, right? So we can create cross-region replication this way. So all that is copied, uploaded here will be already also copied automatically to this region as well. So there's that benefit, of course, that you have a backup in another region. Suppose this whole region has some kind of big outage there, so you will have exactly that copy across the continent in another region as well for your critical data, right? So that's one thing here. Also, one other thing is that the replication is asynchronous, which means that it's not real-time backup, is asynchronous. So that would just mean that once the file is uploaded in active region, or in the source region, and confirmed as well, confirmed that it is uploaded, then it is copied to partner region. So this means that it's not real-time update. So real-time, there is another type of replication called synchronous. In synchronous replication, so this replication is asynchronous. Synchronous replication is real-time. Synchronous replication is real-time, and as the file gets uploaded in the active or source region, it also gets copied the same time on the partner region as well, right? So that is asynchronous. Now the update is asynchronous, so it just confirms that it is copied here, then it only copies after that to the other region. So we can also make two-way replication here as well, and that is going to be your task 2, where we can make one-way cross region replication and also two-way cross region replication. So our task would be right now that I'm going to show you how to make one-way cross region replication, and the other way you're going to do it yourself as a task. So another point is this, that any existing data cannot be copied automatically to the other region once this feature is enabled. So this means that only new data uploaded will be copied to other regions. So what about the existing data then? Suppose you have 1 terabyte of existing data that needs to be copied as well. Any existing data must be downloaded and then deleted from the bucket and then uploaded again to be copied to other region. So these are some of the features there that needs to be understood, that existing bucket or existing file will not be copied. It will only be new files after you enable this feature across 2 regions, right? So if we get this, then let's try to test it out. Now we already have 1 bucket in our North Virginia region, and we need to create a second bucket so I'll just go for, first of all, here, cross region replication, and then this is the diagram for that. Okay, so we already have 1 bucket in North Virginia. Now let's first create a second bucket, and we're gonna, when we create a second bucket, we're gonna just name it or we're gonna select the region Singapore, right? Asia Pacific and then Singapore, right? So then we're going to go back to the North Virginia bucket, and we're going to enable the feature called replication. So once that feature is enabled, it's in the wizard, it's going to ask that which is the other bucket that you want this data to be copied to. So what we're expecting in the end, that whatever new file we upload there, it's gonna end up automatically copied there in the Singapore region bucket. So let's go ahead and do that. The first step would be now to go back to our S3 bucket. So if you're back to your AWS right now console, then let's click the Amazon S3 first of all, this one, and let's click that. Amazon S3, now you see your first bucket already there, right? So I did resume that, right? Okay. So there is the first bucket here. Now this is already created in North Virginia region. So let's just create a second bucket. Let's go ahead and create the second bucket here, and this will be in the Singapore region. So let's click the create bucket again. And once you're creating the bucket, now what was the naming convention we created for the first one? GB your first name, 12 March. So the second bucket would be, again, it can start from GB dash your first name dash 12 March 19 dash Singapore. Just name it like that, and so we would know right away that, okay, that's the Singapore bucket. The other one was other than that. So GB dash your first name dash 12 March 19 dash Singapore, and go for the region now. And there's the Singapore, Asia Pacific, Singapore, this one. So go ahead and select that region as well. Once you select that region, Asia Pacific, Singapore, we're good. So this is just another simple bucket, just like the first one. And of course, we don't have an existing bucket. Although we have an existing bucket, there's nothing specific there to be copied, or its policies to be copied here. So we're not going to use this option of copy settings for an existing bucket. Now, if you've selected that, okay, so no screenshots till now. So let's just click the next button. After you've given this name, no screenshots here. Next. And then keep all versions of an object in the same bucket. Now that's another important point. If you want cross-region replication to work, the versioning feature has to be enabled on both the buckets. So I'm just gonna check mark this one where versioning is written on the configuration options page. That's the second page you have, and just go ahead and enable or check mark versioning. So once you click the versioning here, because cross-region replication cannot work without versioning, so we have enabled that. Other than that, you don't need anything else. Nope. So the only check mark we did, and that's critical, go ahead and check mark that, and let's click next again. And now we don't need to open the file there and make it accessible. So if we wanted, so we would have just during the creation of the bucket, we would have just unchecked these options to allow us to give or remove permissions to any file that we upload there, right? But we're gonna keep it like that. It's okay. So permissions area, nothing to do here, and still click next. Now we are on the review area here. I hope everyone's on the review page now. So the bucket name is showing here, and it is showing which region it belongs to. So take your screenshot on this page, which is what? Screenshot number 17. So the review page, take a screenshot. So review page, take a screenshot and click create bucket. After you've taken the 17th screenshot, click create bucket. So go ahead and click create bucket. Now the two buckets are showing here clearly, and oh, seriously? Okay. Yep.
So it says specified bucket is not valid.
Oh. Well, did you exactly put name like this? See this? Exactly. If there's a caps, it will not let you do that. If there's a @ sign or any special character, it's not going to let you go ahead. If there's a space, it's not going to do that. So just check the name. Got it, right?
Yeah, it works.
Okay, cool. So here, I'm so tempted to say take a screenshot, but then we will run out of screenshots very soon, and then you have to go home, and that's not a happy ending. I know it's a happy ending, but so right now, yeah, we don't need that. Okay, let's go ahead. So now what we need to configure is we're going to go to the North Virginia bucket, which is on the right side. You can see here region and North Virginia bucket, right? So let's go inside the North Virginia bucket. and then go to a feature called replication that you will find in the management tab, this one. Let's go to the management tab, and here we see this one, replication. I hope everyone is able to see that. So let's click the replication feature inside the North Virginia, not the Singapore, the North Virginia bucket. So if you see that replication here, let's click the add rule here. Let's click the add rule here with the replication. Once you click that, now the configuration starts for cross-region replication. So entire bucket set source, yes, we want entire bucket, any content of that. Well, once you configure that successfully, now any new data would be copied, obviously. So entire bucket, yes, we want that. Second thing is replicate objects encrypted with AWS KMS. So we haven't encrypted any file already there, so we're not selecting that. Okay, so entire bucket is already selected. It's okay. Let's click next. Once you click next here, destination bucket, obviously that's the other one that we just created now. So let's just select that, and it will detect that that's the only other bucket we have. So just select select bucket option and go ahead and check mark or select this. So if this is selected here, while we are sitting in the background, it is showing this GB your first name 12 March, and here it is showing that you have selected this version, and this the replication rule is showing change the storage class for replicated objects. Now storage class we haven't discussed that, but normally it is for archives. Change object ownership to destination bucket owner, so we don't want the ownership to be changed as well. But oh, seriously, oh, we will do that in review as well, right? Okay, so if you selected that bucket, let's click next. No screenshot here, and well, it says that it requires an IAM role here, but we can just, if we click the disable here, it's not gonna let us go ahead. If we keep it enabled, does it let us go ahead next? So we're just gonna type a name. You can just go and type here your first name dash IAM. So it is your first name dash IAM. So it just needs to create a role to give permission itself. It knows which permission to give for the replication rule to actually work. So if you have put your name there, again it just says it doesn't let you go ahead next, right? So then we can click the download. Oh, okay, so let's click the download here, and we can click new role. Go ahead, and I just selected download, and I just selected the first one, new role. So, and we gave that, okay, just put that name there, it's okay, but just click the new role here, and it's going to know that which permissions to grant on this page. So once this is selected and you have given the role name as well, let's click next. So now this is just showing the whole review here. So bucket name is showing, region North Virginia, and the bucket is this, and then destination, so that's the source region, that's the destination region. We're good with that, right? So take a screenshot here, which is 18th screenshot, the review page, 18th screenshot. Oh man, seriously, 7 left, that's not fair. Okay, so this is source and this is destination here, and go ahead and click save. So now this cross-region replication updated successfully. Now guys, what are we expecting here? So first of all, it shows everyone the same thing, right? It's successful. Now this means whatever file is in this bucket should be there in the other bucket as well, right? So let's go to Amazon S3, the top one. Let's just let's click here, S3, this one. Once you click here, Now, if you go to the second bucket, Singapore bucket, let's go to the Singapore bucket here. Do you see anything inside? But there's a file there already, right? So why do you not see that here? Oh, if you click the show, why? Anyone knows? So nobody was paying, right? You didn't pay, right? Attention. Oh, you didn't pay for the course? I'm just kidding. Okay, just attention. So, okay guys, why is that file not showing? This is working right now. Cross-site application is working right now. Why is the file that is existing in Virginia bucket? So let's go to Amazon S3 here, and let's go back to North Virginia bucket here. If we click that bucket, the file is there. So cross-region replication means the file, whatever file is here, should be showing there automatically. Why is this file in North Virginia not showing in Singapore? Oh, well, I asked this question because I needed a water. Yeah. Well, no, I also wanted to know if anyone was paying. So, yeah, you're saying?
Is it the last, when you go to permissions, is it, you know how you said 3 of them? If you disable the fourth option, the fourth one under permissions and public access, will that enable it to?
No.
It says block public.
No, even if you try that, no, it's not going to work. Okay, so the reason is that it is not showing that I was saying that existing files will never get copied. Only the new files will get copied. So if you have 1 terabyte of existing files and you just enable cross-region replication today, 1 terabyte files will never get copied, but the next file will get copied right away. So after cross-region replication is configured, then any file you upload new will work, others will not work, right? So what do? Create a new file. So we're inside the North Virginia bucket. Click the upload button again and go to add files again, and here just right click and create a new file. Right click and create a new text file here, text document, just like before. Text document, and then just name it your first name dash replication. So we create that file called your first name replication, this one, and then just double click and upload, right? So your first name replication, double click, it shows like this now, and simply upload. Now once it is uploaded here, does it show up in Singapore bucket? So let's go ahead and check. So we go to Amazon S3 here, we go to Singapore bucket and refresh this. Refresh the browser. Now you see only the replication file showing up there, not the first one, still not the first one, because it existed while you configured the cross-region replication. So the first one will not show. So normally you don't download that, delete it, upload it again, it will show, right? So refresh the browser, right? It will show only when you refresh the browsers. Did you upload the new file? Okay. Good, right? Good. Okay. So we see cross-region replication now, and we understand how did we configure that. So now your favorite moment has come again. Task 2, yay! We're so excited. So task 2 is create a cross-region replication from Singapore bucket to North Virginia bucket. one screenshot required where the review window shows the source as Singapore bucket and destination, and you know that the last screenshot also was the review screenshot. Mission shows n.Virginia bucket. One screenshot required, guys. So you need to test that as well. I need the review, but you need to test when you upload a new file from on Singapore bucket, it should show up automatically in North Virginia bucket. Screenshot required for the review window. Then test it as well. So, well, it could be role 1, your first name dash role 1. Do test it when you upload a new file to Singapore. It should show up in North Virginia. So if it is done, let's go ahead. Okay, since it is done, let's go ahead. Anyone not done? Okay, not done. Let me know when you're done. We can go ahead. Let's start a very, very long lab now. Oh, that would be 19th screenshot, okay. Okay, let's go ahead now. Right? Wrong? Right. Okay, since nobody said, no, don't go ahead. So, let's go. So that was task 2, easy, right? Let's go ahead and now the next one is Active Directory, not Active Directory. So it's just data lifecycle. Now, what is that? Let's go ahead and check it out. Didn't show.
Vortex.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, Notepad. So you're done with the task, right? We just need one screenshot of the review page. Okay. We're good? Oh, we're not good? Why? Kidding, right? Or
I got it working. I don't know where to see.
it's the COMP
so not okay or okay? Oh, you're still doing that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, 2 to 3 more minutes, or you could get help from anyone else as well, and we could. So you just have to go to Singapore bucket and click management and replication, right? You didn't take the screenshot for the review. When you click replication, the last page is the review page. Well,
Wait. We need a screenshot of the file that's been transferred over. Just the role.
just the 4th page, which is review.
Oh my god.
You got it? Okay, guys, let's go ahead. Three to one. So let's go ahead and we're gonna go for data lifecycle management, and that's a very cool feature where you can get rid of the huge amount of data there that you have already in AWS. You can just get rid of it from seamlessly and automatically. So AWS storage, Amazon S3 object lifecycle management is roughly equivalent to automated storage tiering in traditional IT storage infrastructures. In many cases, data has a natural life cycle, starting as a hot or frequently accessed data, moving to warm, less frequently accessed data as it ages, and ending its life as cold, long-term backup or archive. So there is a hot data which is frequently accessed, warm data that is less frequently accessed, and then there is cold data that is archived for long, so data before eventual deletion. So by law, of course, every company is supposed to save the data for last 7 years. All kind of company data has to be saved there for last 7 years. This is the law in North America and in Europe as well, in all big companies. So how do we do lifecycle management of our continuously uploaded the data that is being continuously uploaded there by a large amount of employees there in the company, in a large company especially? So for example, many business documents are frequently accessed when they are created, then become much less frequently accessed over time. So in many cases, however, compliance rules require business documents to be archived and kept accessible for years, right? So you want the data for the first week, second week, first month only. All users are accessing that file. Maybe after a few weeks, nobody needs to access that file. The work is done on that file. So you can send it to a cheaper storage there. And then if for 1 year nobody accesses that file, or 90 days, 3 months, nobody accesses that file, you can even send it to or forward that data to much more cheaper storage as well. So here, similarly, studies show that file, operating system, and database backups are most frequently accessed in the first few days after they are created, usually to restore after an inadvertent error. advertent error. So now the thing is that if you have a file that nobody's using, why should you pay for its for keeping that file in more expensive storage, which is the S3 main regular storage? Why don't you put it in other types of storages which are also available that are cheaper, right? So after a week or two, these backups remain a critical asset, but they are much less likely to be accessed for a restore. And then in many cases, compliance rules require that a certain number of backups be kept for several years. So you want to keep the data for long, you have to then go for data lifecycle management or lifecycle rules you have to apply there. Now this is where we will also talk about Glacier, which is the archive solution by AWS. So let's create a new bucket, test bucket, lifecycle management, and then make sure we do not use regions that do not offer Glacier. After bucket creation, let's go inside the bucket and create a lifecycle rule. Now we need to test the lifecycle management. We get that if the data is being placed there and is not being used by the employees, then why should we use more expensive storage for that? Why don't we use just cheaper storage? So what are the types of cheaper storage there? So can be used in conjunction with versioning as well. So if you want to save the versioning of all documents for 7 years as well, it can do that too, and can be applied to current versions and previous versions as well. And then you can put it on permanently delete as well after 7 years have passed or 5 or 6 years have passed. But it's better to keep that data as for 7 years at least. You need to keep that, right? So let's just go ahead and try to check the lifecycle data lifecycle rules there, right? So that is called AWS Lifecycle Management, and that is to keep the data and keep it moving to cheaper storage once you don't need the data, and then to the cheapest storage once you don't need that. So let's go ahead and come back to our S3 Amazon S3 service here, and let's click that. If you're in the console right now, let's click that Amazon S3 again. Let's click that, and we're seeing the two buckets here, right? So what we need to do is we need to create lifecycle management. So we can just go and create a third bucket, which is let's click the create bucket again. Let's go ahead and click the create bucket, and we can just put here GB dash your first name dash lifecycle management, or we can just go for life dash cycle dash management. So I'll just make it bigger. So GB your first name dash life dash cycle dash management. So that's the feature that we want to use now in the North Virginia bucket. So if we have done that, now we don't have to go to configure options and set permissions and then review. We can just simply create the bucket. If you have put the name here already, go ahead and create the bucket. So click the create button here. So once you create a bucket with this name, let's go inside the bucket lifecycle management. So once we go inside the lifecycle bucket management, we can see the management tab here as well. So if you're inside the newly created bucket, let's click that tab, management. Once we click the management tab here, then before we went for replication, now we're going to go for this, which is already selected, the lifecycle tab here, and under that we see add lifecycle rule. So take your 20th screenshot here where it shows your first name lifecycle management as a bucket name, and your this is showing that add lifecycle rule is an option here. So take your 20th screenshot. Oh, it's 20th or 21st? 20th, right? 20th screenshot. So it's not 21st, right? Okay. So let's go ahead. Now here let's click the add lifecycle rule. So let's go ahead and after taking a 20th screenshot, let's click the add lifecycle rule. Once you click the add lifecycle rule here, enter a rule name. So let's just put some rule name here. So again, GB dash your first name dash life dash cycle dash rule. So before it was the lifecycle management, now we're just creating a rule. So GB your first name dash life dash cycle dash rule. So we can just put some clear name there, and let's just check that what are the options and configurations that we need to make sure that we understand. So if you've given this name here, click the next button, and then we go for storage class transition. You can add rules in a lifecycle configuration to tell Amazon S3 to transition objects to another storage class. So the main thing is that once you're sure in your company that okay, after 30 days normally we don't use the files that are 30 days old, so you can automatically put their schedule here that okay, move those files automatically. If the files are 30 days old, just move it to the next cheaper storage. When they are 60 days old, then move it to the cheapest storage there, right? So there are many options there for the storage types here. If I click the learn more here, it just starts showing all the types of storage here, supported transitions and related constraints here, and then we keep going down until it is supposed to show that what kind of storages it is showing. Now it's a big document, but we're just going to check it out. Now there is standards, IA means infrequently accessed, intelligent tiering. Then there is one zone IA, which is just within one availability zone. You can this is also a cheap option, but it's not a redundant option. Within one zone you can just keep that data. And then Glacier is the cheapest option there. Then we're going to do separate lab as well. So it should have standard, reduce redundancy, and then it just keeps on. So document just explains a bit more, but it just says standard IA, then one zone IA, and then standard IA, one zone IA here as well, and then Glacier storage. So these are some documentations, and normally this is where it shows the table and explains all the other options. So I'll just quickly take and put that URL here. When I upload that slide, so you will be able to access that. You can read more. So if you're on this page here, transitions, so storage class transition, we can click the current version. Let's go ahead and click the current version here. Now this means that you're not interested in saving the previous version of the files, just the current version. Save it, because suppose it's hundreds of employees uploading thousands of files. So whatever files you're adding there, you have to pay for that storage, right? So if you start adding previous file versions as well, so large companies earning millions of dollars as profits. So for them, just adding the previous versions is also no big deal. But obviously you'll be charged for what you do here. So if you click the current version, then you see that add transition showing there. So let's click this add transition here, and it says here object creation. So what do you want the object creation to do? So transition to standard IA after this many days. So let's click that transition to standard IA, the first option. Let's go ahead and click that. So once you click that, IA means infrequently accessed. So it is a bit cheaper than the S3 bucket, and it says that after 30 days it's going to be transferred to the standard infrequently accessed data. So that's one thing. So that's transition level 1. Let's again click that add transition button here. Once you again second time click that, now you have more options here. Of course, select that. Now first option you have selected already, so it's grayed out. The second option could be intelligent tiering. We can click that as well. So once 30 days is passed, then intelligently try to put it on any one of the other available these classes, storage classes here. So it's going to intelligently try to put that. We don't need that. We're gonna actually select that ourselves. So if you have selected that, we can just click the cross button here. So we're gonna delete the second one, or go ahead and delete the second one. We could have just, I've just said that delete the second one, but we could have just changed that to any other storage tiering. So if you delete the second one, let's just click that add transition again, and we can go for one zone IA after 60 days. So now this is also a very cheap option. What happens basically is that if you have transition to standard IA after 30 days is selected there, so this data is still available in 3 data centers on the AWS side. But if you go for one zone IA, so this means now multiple data center availability of this data is not guaranteed. This is much cheaper because you're not interested in redundancy of that data. So let's click the add transition third time here, and now do we have any other option here, and that is Glacier. So transition to Amazon Glacier after 90 days. So this is the data transition. If the data is not frequently being used, it's going to be removed from regular S3 bucket to this standard IA or infrequently accessed. Once 30 days have passed and it is remaining here on standard IA, then you will go for one zone IA, which is even cheaper option, and it's not even redundant. After 60 days have passed in one zone IA, then it goes to the Glacier, which is the cheapest option there, and you can store data here for much longer time, even 7 years or even more than that. So if you have selected all 3 options here, then go ahead and take your 21st screenshot. On this page, if 3 of them are selected, take your 21st screenshot. Okay, so if the screenshot number 21 is taken, click next. Well, so now the next stage is expiration. So at one again, just click the current version, and it says that expire current version of object after 455 days from object creation. So it is giving this much time here, 455 days. So that's like 1.5 years. Now if the law requires that your data should be at least 7 years of data should be available there, so definitely you would go for 7 years. Now anyone knows how many days are there in 7 years? Anyone very good in maths? Hey, Google it, man. So how many days are there in 7 years?
2,555.
You cheated.
I didn't cheat.
No, just Google it. I would just Google it, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yes, 2,555.
So 2555. So this would be exactly your 7 years. So here, expired current version. So this is by law. You should have that setting, and that is 7 years data. If suppose the government tries to investigate your company, and you say that, oh, 7 years of data is not there, just 2 years of data for our employees is there, then the government could put you heavy fines on you. Also, your company could be going for much worse repercussions there, because now investigation cannot be done for certain employees for last 7 years. So definitely you need the this is just a point that you should the law is that you should have data for 7 years. Okay, so let's just put that number of days there, and what it says other than that, cleanup expired object delete markers and incomplete multi-part uploads. So if you were uploading and there was different multi-part upload was going on, suppose it was a huge upload and it was being uploaded in parts, and it was having some error at certain stage, it's going to delete all that automatically. That's a setting that we are okay with. So clean up incomplete multi-part uploads, this is what it's going to do. Anyway, what we are seeing here is that we have configured the current version. If now you go to previous version, which is the next checkbox here, let's click that next checkbox. The previous, suppose we say that although we were not saving that previous version in the previous page in the transitions, and if the previous version was there, then it says that permanently delete previous versions after this many days, and that's 1 year, right? So you might save for 7 years the current version of each document, but because previous version could be, suppose one document there was 7 or 10 or 20 previous versions. So if 100 or thousands of employees are uploading their previous versions as well, or all current versioning they are uploading, all the versions are saved for those thousands of employees, you can imagine that's a huge data that you're saving now. So it says that previous versions can be deleted at different amount of time, while the original version can be secured for different amount of time, right? So let's uncheck previous versions. It doesn't matter right now. I just wanted to explain that, okay, it does show you different number of days for the previous version if you choose to select that in your production environment. So if you have put that number there, let's click next, and there's a review here, and that review actually shows all the configurations that we did. If we go any further, then we are running out of screenshots real soon, right? That's not a good idea. Or is that a good idea? Or is that an excellent idea? Okay, that's your screenshot number 22. Okay. We are rejoicing already. The next 3 screenshots could be coming very, very late with huge gaps in between. Okay, so here we get this screenshot number 22 here, and if you've gotten that, go ahead and click save. Right, the review page, we got the screenshot for that, and now it shows that there's a rule created here. Now we can't possibly test this. You know why? It takes 30 days and then 60 days and then 90 days for each transition to take effect. We don't have that kind of time, but this is how the rules are created, and we understand why are we creating those rules here, right? So it was the review screen that we wanted to be clicked. If I click edit here and then on the review, yeah, we can just go back to review as well, and this is a review page. Suppose you missed the review page, you can click that and click edit. You will go back to the review page. Oh, can't save?
Yeah, it's standard A1.
Okay. Oh, not K. We're good? Thank you. So three screenshots, really. Okay guys, if that is done, we understood as well that what is the purpose of having the data lifecycle rule. Now the next one is kind of much more easier than others, and that's that S3 bucket also supports static websites. So you can host static websites. If anyone here is a developer or web developer, you would know that how websites are created, and then so here enable this feature and then upload your HTML documents to the S3 bucket and offer a basic static website. This is a small lab just to show that you can turn your S3 bucket into a web server as well, but rest of the task we will do when we talk about CDN. So anyway, the main thing here to understand is that you can have a web page or HTML page uploaded in S3 bucket if you enable the feature called static website. Then after that, whatever HTML code you put in the document, that HTML code will run and will do what the code's supposed to do, right? So suppose you put h1 and /h1 and you put some heading there, so it's gonna actually show the heading. It's not gonna show the code. Whatever that code is supposed to do, it's gonna show that. So what is the example of that? I'm just going to so guys, when you're done with that, your page should look like this. When we are done with that, so the code behind it is running on S3 bucket in a file, and it's showing this different size of heading. You can just put any other HTML code if you know how to do that, but this is just a simple code that shows that yes, an S3 bucket could be converted into a web server that can run static website, right? So static means it's not moving, it's not connecting in the back end to any programming language or to the database server to get some fancy scripts there and show the page as, and data is not moving, data is not changing there. So it's a static website where whatever you put in the file, it just shows that data, right? So this will be the end result when we are done with that. And then so let's just check that feature out as well. I need to give you that file. So normally this is the code, right? So I need to give it to you on Blackboard. So I'll just quickly do that now. I'll pause that now, zooming. So I've uploaded this file called HTML code file in week 10, and we're going to use this file on and upload it to that new bucket that we're going to be creating. Just download it for now, and let's do that static website together. So we'll just go for, we're done. So S3 static. We're gonna go for this feature now. So let's just go to our AWS console here, and let's go to the Amazon S3 now. So we have 3 buckets already created here, right? So let's create one more bucket here, and obviously do remember to delete them all at the end of this class. Anyone forgets, or if I forget, please do remind me and remind others. We need to delete all these buckets, right? So let's go ahead and click create bucket here, and then let's give a name here to the new bucket as obviously the same naming convention. So GB dash your first name dash static website. Static website, that's it. So GB dash your first name dash static dash website, and it's in North Virginia, which is okay. So if you've given that name, let's go ahead and well, we don't need to actually give permissions here. In fact, we will need that again. Okay, so when we do that, need that, we're gonna check it out. So right now, okay guys, click next because we don't want to come back to that again, permissions area. Let's click next. On the next page you see this, keep all versions of an object, so versioning and server access logging. We don't need to enable logging, object level logging and default. Then there are advanced settings, which is object lock. We don't need to check that, and management. So nothing on the page of configure options. Let's click next again. No screenshot here, no changes here on this page. Once you click next here, now this is the area where we had to come back, right? So in case when we open the link and it still gives us access denied, let's just do it right now and uncheck all these options. Now this will allow us to give extra permissions. We're not opening up access. We're allowing ourselves to change access if we wanted to. Right now we are denied to even change any permissions. Now we will be able to change permissions, right? So we understand that. Let's go ahead and click next. So make sure in previous screen you unchecked all four. You unchecked all four and click next. Now this is the review page here where we get the bucket name as this, and I don't want to waste my precious screenshots now. So let's click create bucket. So the fourth bucket is created here, GB dash your first name dash static dash website. If it is created here, we didn't take a screenshot, right? There was no screenshot. Okay, so here let's go inside that static website bucket, and once you go inside, we can first check the properties if the feature static website is actually in the properties or in the management. Obviously it should be in the properties. So let's click the properties of that static website, and you can see the third one here, this one as static website hosting. Let's click it. So properties, and then click it. Once you click that, now it shows a long link here. We're going to be testing that later. Right now what we need to do is use this bucket to host a website. So now we're converting this bucket to a web server as well. At least for the static websites, it's going to be a web server. Now it's also asking that, hey, what is the first file that you want the bucket to load? What is the name of that file? So we're going to name it exactly as it is suggested here, index.html. Now we need to have exactly this file name, a file with this name uploaded in the bucket, so the bucket could recognize, oh yes, this is the file that it's supposed to load as the first web page, So when we click that link later, this page should load, and it should not only load, it should run the code that I've sent you already, right? So if you've put that already, the second page normally shows error document, which just means that in case the first page doesn't open, automatically open the second page. Now in the second page you can just put that, oh sorry, the website, the first page did not load, that's why you're on this page, contact administrator, and this is the email of administrator. So if the error comes, this is the second page that we can create optionally, and if the first page doesn't work, it will go to the second page where you can just put the contact administrator and the address, and the users will just contact the administrator. Anyway, we don't need to create the error.html, but we understand why it is there. And so the main thing here is, if we have done the index.html here, let's click the save button. So now static website hosting, bucket hosting is also enabled here. Now you have to, the file that you have downloaded anywhere in your desktop or the documents, let's just go to that HTML file or text file, sorry, that I've just given you. Let's go to that text file that I've sent to you. Now this is a text file. It is the name of that file that you downloaded is index.txt, right? So we need, do you see the extensions of the file already in your computer? So it is important that you see the .txt extension there. If you're unable to see that, then you can do this, view, click the view up there like this, and then click the file extension, view, and this one. Make sure in the view that you have the file name extension checked already, right? If it is already checked like this, then you should be able to see that .txt. Now go ahead and just right click and rename that. Right click on that index.txt file that you downloaded from Blackboard and click the rename button, or just one single click would have also done that. We will change that index.txt. So after the dot, remove the txt and type HTML. That's all you need to do, right? So that code is already written there. If it is an HTML file instead of .txt, then it's just going to run on any web server that you provide. So if you have written the HTML, go ahead and click that. You can see already have that file, so I'm just not gonna click that, but you go ahead and click that and change it to an HTML file. Go ahead and change it to an HTML file, and it should be like this. So in my case it shows Chrome, in your case it might be showing IE, Internet Explorer, right? So if it is showing that, now we need to upload it in that particular bucket. The file must be HTML already, not HTM but HTML, right? Done? Oh, you need help? No, okay. You're not done and not need help? Okay. Help is on the way, I guess. Thank you. So we're all good, right? So let's go ahead, guys. I guess. We're good, right? All right. We're good. So simply, let's go ahead and upload this file here. With the file, where do we upload? In the bucket, which is we just created, GB your first name static website. So I'm back to the bucket here, and I will click overview now, right? And just go ahead and upload inside the overview. Make sure you're inside that bucket and click upload, right? So once you click upload here, just click the add files. You know the drill. So well, I'm actually where the index.html is already there in that folder. Just go browse to that folder, double click that and upload. So you double click that, and we don't need to go to the permissions here, so let's click upload directly. So now we see here, once we upload that, even the icon of the file is showing like a web icon here. So if that file is uploaded there, and you see that file, now take your 23rd screenshot. No, we are reaching the last of it. Precious screenshots. It's like oxygen in space. So 23rd screenshot is that you see a file uploaded that is index.html. All we need to do is, right? All we need to do is just open it. It must open with that heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4. Instead of the code, it should be running the code, and the result of the code should be showing there. So can we open that now? So click on that file, index.html, click on that file, and there's the link for this file, right? This one. So once you click that link, it will open. It works. No, the link, not the open button, the link. So if you click that link, so what do? Same thing, right? We do the same thing, which is make public. So we click back. We already allowed ourselves to change permissions. So we click make public here. We click the make public and then click that link again. So is it showing for everyone? Okay, so we have 2 screenshots left anyway. So take your screenshot here. Yikes. So that's your 24th screenshot. Everyone took the screenshot? So that will be your 24th screenshot. So Okay, guys. So what do we do next now?
Screenshot the selfie.
Hey, not every time. So go home screenshot. When you're entering the door, you should take a screenshot of your entering the home door, main gate of the home. No. Okay, guys. So we need to go for the next very, very, very long lab. Let's go to Amazon S3. So we see 4 buckets here. What do we do with these 4 buckets? Take a screenshot? Hey, well, if you select all 4, can you delete them? So the delete button is, you have to delete 1 bucket at a time. So yes, so let's delete one by one all the buckets. When all the buckets are done, deleted, and this is an empty screen, take the final screenshot of the empty screen where S3 bucket page is still showing, but all the buckets are gone. So empty screen is the last screenshot required here. So delete all the buckets one by one. Well, I need to delete that too. So I'm just going to select the first one here, and I'll click the delete button now after selecting the first bucket, and it says that put the name of the bucket. So I'm just going to copy the name of the bucket like this from in the quotes there, and just paste it here. So that's how I delete my first bucket. I'm going to delete my second bucket now. It's the same way that I did the first one. I select the bucket, I click the delete button here, and I select the name. So here's the name of the bucket, this one, and right click and copy the name without the quotes, and click paste and confirm. The second bucket is gone. Then we click again the third bucket and click delete, and we know the drill now. Just select the name again from here and confirm, gone, and then the final one, delete, get the name, and confirm, right? So now this page where the bucket is showing empty and your name is showing on the right top, take your final screenshot when the bucket is showing empty. Okay, upload. Bye bye. Oh, lab topic is S3 storage. So guys, lab topic is this. It's AWS S3 storage part 1. 01 or 1. So that's the lab topic, AWS S3 storage part 1. Lab topic is this, AWS S3 storage part 1. So the lab topic is this, and okay.